The sound of her laughter still echoed in my ears. Soft, breathy, familiar. But it wasn't for me. It was 2:17 a.m. when I heard it through the half-open bedroom door, followed by the low hum of a man's voice. For a second, my brain refused to register what I was hearing. Then came the muffled gasp, hers, and the rhythm of betrayal I could no longer ignore. I stood frozen in the hallway, clutching the handle of the suitcase I had packed hours earlier for our anniversary trip. My wife, Emma, had told me she wasn't feeling well and wanted to rest before we left in the morning. I believed her. God, I wanted to believe her. But standing there, hearing the sound of her breathless giggles, belief collapsed like a house of cards. I didn't barge in. I didn't shout. I didn't even cry. I walked out the front door barefoot, suitcase dragging behind me on the concrete. The night air was cold and sharp, slicing through the numbness spreading in my chest. My phone buzzed, her name on the screen, but I let it ring until it stopped. I ended up at my oldest friend Ryan's apartment, 20 minutes across town. We hadn't spoken much in recent months. Life had pulled us apart, but I knew his door was always open. When he answered, his eyes widened. "Ethan." "Jesus, man, it's 3 a.m. What happened?" I must have looked broken. My voice came out hoarse. "Can I crash here for a bit?" Ryan didn't ask questions. He just stepped aside and said, "Yeah, of course." The first few days were a blur. I told him the truth, every sordid detail. He cursed, paced, and offered to go teach her a lesson. But I stopped him. Violence wouldn't change anything. Ryan's sister, Lily, lived there too. I'd known her since she was a teenager. Quiet, artistic, always sketching something in her notebook. She was older now, early 20s, with this calm, watchful energy that made silence feel less suffocating. The second night I stayed, she made tea and sat beside me on the couch. "You don't have to talk," she said softly. "But you don't have to sit alone either." Her kindness was disarming. I nodded, grateful for words that didn't demand an explanation. Days stretched into a week. Emma texted me endlessly. "We need to talk, it's not what you think, please come home." But what could she possibly say that would unburn what I'd seen? Still, part of me itched for closure. For a reason. For anything that could make the past 10 years of our life make sense. I told Ryan I'd be leaving soon, that I needed to face her. He looked relieved, but Lily didn't. That night, as I packed, she came into the guest room. Her eyes were rimmed red, though she wasn't crying. "Ethan," she whispered, "before you go back to her, there's something you need to know." The words stopped me cold. "What do you mean?" She hesitated. Then she pulled out her phone, thumb trembling as she scrolled through messages. "I didn't want to get involved," she said, voice breaking. "But I think she's been seeing him for longer than you think." She handed me the phone. On the screen were text threads, screenshots Ryan had sent her weeks ago. My wife's name lit up over messages that made my stomach twist. "Emma, when can I see you again? He's starting to suspect something." "Ryan, just tell him work's keeping you busy." Same excuse as last time. For a second I thought I was hallucinating. My best friend's name. His words, next to her. My throat went dry. What the hell is this? Lily's eyes filled with tears. "He told me she was just someone from his gym. I didn't know it was your wife until that night you showed up here." The air left my lungs. I dropped the phone. The memory of his comfort, his righteous anger, it all snapped into place like a cruel puzzle. Every sympathetic nod, every "she doesn't deserve you," every time he poured me another drink, it was theater. A performance for the man whose wife he had been sleeping with. I stumbled out of the room, heart pounding so loud I couldn't hear her calling my name. Ryan was in the kitchen, shirtless, leaning over the counter, a bottle in hand. He turned when he saw me, smiled like nothing was wrong. "You okay, man? You look like you've seen a ghost." I wanted to laugh, or scream, or hit him. I didn't know which. Instead, I said quietly, "You've been sleeping with her, haven't you?" He froze. The silence that followed was enough. His jaw clenched, eyes darting away. It just happened, he muttered. You and Emma were falling apart. She needed someone and You were supposed to be my friend, I spat. He tried to reach for me but I stepped back. Every nerve in my body was vibrating with disbelief. How long? Ryan looked down. A year. I let out a sound that wasn't quite a laugh, more like a crack in my chest finally giving way. A year, I repeated. While you helped me plan our anniversary trips, while I confided in you about her distance. He didn't defend himself. Maybe he knew there was no defense left. I left that night. No suitcase this time, no words, no goodbye. Just my car, the rain, and the faint image of Lily standing on the porch, watching me drive away. She texted me the next morning. I'm sorry for what my brother did. You didn't deserve any of this. But you should know he's been spiraling for months. He might come find you. I didn't respond. Couldn't. For days I stayed at a motel outside the city, trying to figure out who I even was anymore. My marriage was gone, my best friend was a stranger, and trust, real trust, felt like a language I'd forgotten how to speak. But one night, a knock echoed through my motel door. I opened it, half expecting Ryan. It was Lily. She stood in the rain, drenched and shaking. He's gone, she said. He left a note. In her trembling hands was a letter, the ink blurred from water. It was addressed to me. Then, I didn't mean for it to go this far. I loved her, but I think part of me hated you for having the life I couldn't. Sorry. Tell Lily I'm sorry too. There was no signature, just a hotel receipt attached to the bottom. Date. A room number. He was gone before I could even decide if I hated him. Weeks later, when I finally went home, the house smelled like her perfume. Emma tried to apologize, her voice raw, eyes hollow, but every word fell flat. There are some things you can't rebuild. Some betrayals that hollow you out so completely, there's no foundation left to stand on. I moved out quietly, left everything behind. And sometimes when the nights are long and the silence too deep, I remember Lily's trembling hands, the rain-soaked letter, and the bitter truth that destroyed 2 lives. Betrayal doesn't just break hearts, it poisons everything it touches. And I'm still learning how to breathe through the wreckage it left behind.